everyone, it's Michelle from Scrap Secrets and welcome to another Sketch Sunday video. This sketch is from MFT. Let me show it to you real quick. This is this week's sketch challenge sketch, and what I'm going to do is actually turn it on its side because we are going to do a scene card. So the first thing that I did was I took my card base, which was already cut. It was just lying around. So it's a top folding card. We are going to turn it around to make it a side folding card. So we're going to put that base to the side, and then I cut out a piece of black plain cardstock. This is Recollections cardstock from Michaels. Same with the card base, nothing fancy. And this is 1/8 of an inch smaller than the card base. So it's going to go like this. Then what I did was I took my Dynamics, which is from MFT, the classic windows, and I used the wrong piece. I wanted to use this piece, but I did not. I used this piece. The difference is this cuts out the entire window. Let me show you. So if you wanted to cut the window out in a different color from your background piece, you could do that. And then this just actually cuts the frame out. Meant to use that one, use this one, not a big deal. We're gonna make it work. So what I'm going to do instead is I cut down a piece of, again, white plain Recollections cardstock, 5x3, that's going to go behind this, and we're going to create a night sky using Distress inks. Now, this may or may not work. I don't know. I've never tried to stamp Distress oxides on top of Distress inks. We're going to see how it goes. I do know, however, that they look beautiful on black cardstock. So since we're doing a night sky, we may or may not use that background piece, all depending on how the stamps turn out. We're going to be using the Fireworks from My Favorite Things. This is one of their newest sets. Again, we're going to be using a couple colors of Distress oxides, which I'll show you when we get to that part. So first thing that I want to do is I want to put all of the pieces that I don't need to ink off to the side so that I don't get confused. I don't need to ink the windows up. One of the other things that I actually wanted to do was take these interior pieces and put them into a spare one of these and stamp the Fireworks. Don't know if that will work. I'll have to try that again another time. So if that made sense. So we are going to start off with the night sky. So I Googled the images of, I put in Distress ink night sky, and there are some really, really pretty dark purple into the darker blues. So we're going to use Dusty Concord to start it off, which is, if you saw, I think it was last week's Sketch Sunday, the Just Be Claws. That's kind of what I did. I used the purple, but I used this into pinks instead of into blues. So, and again, I haven't really learned my lesson because, again, you can see a little bit of the foam blending marks. So I really should be starting off the page like I just did there. I actually think I need a new blending foam. If you can see, it looks like a chunk has been taken out of this blending foam. This is probably really, really old. I think this might have been one of the first colors of Distress ink that I even got, this Dusty Concord, which I totally, totally love Distress inks. When I first got them, I was so excited. I use Distress inks all the time for techniques. It's one of my favorite inks. Still love it, and I'm actually loving the Distress oxides as well. So this is the Dusty Concord. So I try to go in with a lighter hand. I do not do very well with that. I'm more heavy-handed than I thought. So now we're going to go in with the chipped sapphire. Oh, I think, yeah, this one is a little bit of like a purplish blue. So we're going to start off the page and blend those two together. Again, you can see I came in with a little bit too much of a heavy hand here. I'm really, really trying to get better about that. I feel like if I don't press hard enough, I don't get enough color, and then I press too hard and I get too much color. So we will see how this works. Again, I've never done Distress oxides on top of Distress inks. Yes, that's Distress oxides on top of Distress inks. So I'm very curious to see how this is going to work. Now, the beauty of Distress inks, and even Distress, more so Distress inks than Distress Oxide, you can go back over it as many times as you want and get the perfect blend. So usually what I do is after I have the first two colors laid down, I will go back and forth so there's no harsh line. You don't want it to look like there's a stripe down the middle of it, especially when you're doing backgrounds like this or night skies. You don't want it, you want it to look very natural and very much like it's an actual sky. So you're not even going to be seeing much of this piece. This is just what's going to be peeking out the back of the window if we use this piece. I'm hoping that we will, and if we don't, I'm going to save it for another project because I am sure that I will be doing a night sky with something else. Okay, so now I'm moving on to Blueprint Sketch, which is like a little bit of a lighter blue than the Chipped Sapphire. But this still does have like a little bit of like a purplish undertone, so it still does look like the night sky. And this is a newer one for me, so I think that maybe my Dusty Concord just needs to be re-inked, because I feel like this went on a lot smoother, and it definitely is one of my newer inks. Let's go back with Chipped Sapphire. Again, go back and forth and just kind of blend the inks together. Now, Chipped Sapphire, for some reason, is leaving the little blending foam marks. But you're not going to be able to see much of this, so I don't want to spend too much time on it. There are plenty of videos out there with blending techniques so that you can see how to actually do this technique, do the blending. Now, I'm just going to take I have some water here, and this is just a paper towel. I never did wash my cloth. I have a Norwex cloth that I use to clean off my stamps and clean off my mat. I hadn't washed it since I started using it down here, so it is still upstairs in the wash. It's not been done yet. So we are going to see how this looks behind this piece. So beautiful. Well, if I could place it where it should go. So it's going to go back like this. So pretty. Okay, so that's that. Now what we're going to do is I also wanted to take some Distress ink in Weathered Wood and use this as like the siding. So this is going to be the outside of the house or the inside and interior, depending on how we look at it. So I'm just going to take this and run some color over it. No blending, no nothing. I kind of picked a neutral color so that it wouldn't distract from the background. I just wanted it to be just kind of plain. Now, if you wanted to, you could even put in like the planks of siding and do some scoring on this. Just trying to be really, really careful to not separate these edges. So this is like a bluish gray. Oops, sorry guys. Oh. This is like a bluish gray. It was shaking the camera. I apologize. I'm trying to figure out what the best setup is down here. I want to get one of the overhead cameras, but the overhead mounts, I just haven't found one that I liked yet, and I'm trying not to put any more holes in any of the walls in this place. So I don't know what I want to do yet, but I'm trying to find the best view. If there's a view that you guys like better than one over the other, let me know when you're watching the videos. I do like when they're overhead so you can see like the top of the project, but right now I just can't get to that. So here is either the outside of the house or the paint color of the walls. There you go. So just a quick layer of Distress ink. Now The next thing that we want to do is I am going to put this back piece into my MISTI. Yes, I'm using the MISTI. I'm not using the Tim Holtz one today. The Tim Holtz one has stamps in it from another project that I did, and I just never cleaned them out. So that is why we're not using it. There's no other reason. So now on here, this shows you these two go together, these two go together, and etc. These are little like trailing off ones. You have little stars. You have smaller ones, larger ones. I don't know if I'm going to do the overlapping ones yet. I might just do single ones, but we'll see. We will see. I do like the trailing off ones. So let me see. I'm actually probably going to stamp those first, just so that I can see how the Distress ink, well, Distress oxides will stamp onto this. Because if they don't, we're just going to use the black ink. So I'm going to use probably one of the brighter ones. This is Picked Raspberry in the Distress oxides. Now, if you guys don't know the difference between Distress oxides and Distress inks, the Distress oxide is almost like a chalky finish, to where the Distress inks are more like a dye-based, I believe. So they're going to give you different results, and you can do different techniques with them. So you can see that it's just like a teeny tiny one. I get ink all over this. Let me try stamping that again, which is why it is so fantastic to use the MISTI, because you can stamp things 2, 3, 4, 5, however many times you need in the exact same spot, because your magnets will hold everything into place. I do have a MISTI bar magnet, which I just got from MFT, which I'm loving. Oh, it does. It looks really pretty. So, let's see if you can see this. Can you see that pink streak on there? So I'm really, really liking this. So let's go ahead and we are going to stamp some of the fireworks. And they're more towards the center, but I kind of want things half in, half out. So let's see. I'm going to lay this piece back over so you can see. Yeah, I definitely want things part in, part out, just so that it looks more like a realistic fireworks scene rather than just, you know, I place these things here. So we're going to use the Distress Oxide and Peacock Feathers for the one at the top, and then we are going to use Cracked Pistachio Distress Oxide for the one at the bottom. And hopefully I'll remember that when I go to re-ink these, because I'm assuming that they're going to take at least 2 stamps. Now, I don't want to press too hard on these. These are more like a pigment ink, so they'll spread a little bit more. So you just kind of want to give it a couple seconds to react with the Distress Oxide piece. Okay, so now you really cannot see this one up here, which is the Peacock Feathers. So let me do the Cracked Pistachio one again. And maybe I will go with, let's try, you can kind of see it. You know what? Let me try one more time with the Peacock Feathers. I thought they were going to be a little bit brighter on here, so maybe that's, you know, maybe if I do a couple stampings, it'll get brighter. Again, this is a complete experiment. I have zero idea how this is going to turn out. Oh, you can definitely see it better there. Okay, let's do one more. Peacock Feathers again at the top, and then Cracked Pistachio at the bottom. Again, this is the really cool thing about the MISTI, is that if you don't get that stamped perfectly the first couple of times, you can do it again. Or if you need it to be brighter, wow, that Cracked Pistachio looks awesome. Let me try one more time with the Peacock Feathers and see if we can get like a deeper color. Probably because it's at the top where the darkest color is, and Peacock Feathers is kind of a more mellow blue, I guess you can say, or like a lighter blue. Oh, wow. Now you can really see it. It really looks fantastic. I'm glad that I didn't stop and try to change colors. So, this side. And I think I'm only going to do the one color per, just because, well, one for time's sake, and two for just simplicity, because you're really not going to see all that much of it behind the stamp, the windows. So let's see. Where else are you going to see? I see some here and here. All right, so let's put some of the smaller ones. Let's put a burst here. And then let's put some of the clusters up here. Let's try some of the red. This is going to be kind of a colorful sky. And I'm not going to try to fill everything up because fireworks are, you know, there's not a ton in the sky all at the same time. So we're going to use some candied apple at the top. Ooh, this is a very, very bright red. And then we will use some worn lipstick up here. We probably are going to have to do this a couple times, depending on how this comes out. Yeah, you can see the candied apple. You cannot see the worn lipstick at all. Let's try the worn lipstick again. Let's just see if maybe... It's a very light pink, and again, I think that's part of the problem, is that it is so light. But we tried peacock feathers a couple of times. I'm trying to see if there's any other... There's an abandoned coral that we could try. Oh, you can see a little bit of it. Now, this is not going to be as dynamic a background as if you use these without the Distress inks behind it. Just because the Distress inks, it feels like they soak up a little bit of this Distress Oxide. You can see what I'm doing. I know this is kind of the boring part, but hopefully the magic will be when we put this card all together, which will be super soon. We're almost done. I think I'm going to stamp it 1 to 2 more times. Let's try to see. Again, not going to be super, super dynamic, but I just want you to be able to see that there are fireworks here and get the gist behind it. This is kind of for like a 4th of July card. You know, obviously since 4th of July is coming up very, very soon, which I hate that it's on a Wednesday this year, because when do you celebrate it? When are you guys celebrating? We're kind of doing a 2-weekend thing. We're doing next weekend and then the weekend after. It's just kind of a weird thing when it's on a Wednesday, because you have to go, like I have to go to work the day before and the day after. So it's not even like I get a weekend or, you know, like a 3-day weekend. So not that I'm complaining, because we actually have off. So, okay, awesome. So I can show you the background now. This is what it looks like. And there's all the fireworks. Now, one thing that you can do with these ones and is use embossing powder over this, and especially with the Distress Oxides, because I feel like they stay wet a little bit longer. You can do clear embossing powder over top of it and then get like a shine over top of it, or put like a sparkle embossing powder over top of it, and you can do so many different things with it. So we're going to do this. We're going to place the background on, and then what I want to do is inlay the windows, so you're not even going to really be able to see as much of it as I thought. It's just going to be little peaks, but oh, it looks awesome. I can't wait to show you guys. So let me let this dry for another minute, and let's put the card base together. This is when I hate having like chalky hands. My hands have gotten a little, they're not too bad right now. But Distress inks and Distress Oxides definitely turn your fingers colors. So this is a Martha Stewart wide tip glue pen. I got this a long time ago. It was actually, her stuff was being clearanced out at Michael's, and I have a Zig 2-way large glue pen. I have no idea where it is. It's in this basement somewhere, in my craft room somewhere. No clue. No clue as to where it is. I don't know how it got up and walked away. But it was here the other day, and now it's not. So I don't know where it is. And actually, as I'm saying that, I lie. It's legit. It's right here. I was looking all over for it, and I don't know. Things walk away in this place. Either that or I'm a little crazy. So here is the background here. And then the next thing I want to do is I want to put a little bit of glue down here, because this is where the piece is going to go. We're going to center it over this. I just want to make sure that it's all covered. Doesn't matter if it's crooked. It doesn't have to be straight, because it, you know, like here you see it's not exactly straight, but that's fine, because no one's ever going to know once you turn it over and glue the front down. So cute. So this is what it looks like without the windows in it. So now we're going to flip this back over, and we are going to put glue down on the back of this piece. We're going to put it on the sides so that we can glue this down into the card. And let me just make sure that I don't glue it upside down, because I've done that before. So it's just going to have a teeny tiny bit of a black border around it here. And then we are going to take the window pieces and we are going to glue them. I'll put some glue on them. Probably getting more glue on my mat than I am on the back of these. And this glue seems to be stickier than the Zig two-way glue. Like, I feel like it's really sticking to my hands. Like you know what? And since now I found that Zig two-way glue pen, I'm going to switch to that for the last window. So I feel like it's not as, it doesn't leave a residue on your hands like this one, that other one did. Again, this is the large Zig two-way glue pen. I have the smaller ones that I love, so I picked this one up because I was going through those pens like there's no tomorrow. So there it is. Can you see that? The shadows down here are so bad, but it is beautiful in person. I'm in love with this card in person. It looks phenomenal. So the last thing that I have to do is I want to put a sentiment on here, which I probably should have done before I glued everything together. Oh, now the window's not staying down. So we're going to put this in place. I'm going to just hold those windows down, and I'm going to choose a stamp from the Wow stamp set, which is also an MFT. So You Wow Me. We're just going to say celebrate with a you wow me, you give me fireworks, celebrate with a bang, this is your year, it's your birthday, let's celebrate you, you made my day, you did it, you shine, ooh ah, you sparkle, congratulations, you're amazing, wow. Let's do celebrate with a bang to make it like a 4th of July card. I wanted to, and I'm going to use a little bit of black. I like to use black on my card, just to usually for the card part of the card base, and then I also like to have the sentiment in black, and it just kind of ties everything together very nicely. And this is MFT's Black Licorice Hybrid ink. I also have their Extreme Black. I reach for either one of those two. More recently, the Extreme Black. The Extreme Black was just on my right, and this one was on my left. This one was actually closer to me, so it did not stamp perfectly the first time, so we're going to try it again. Celebrate with a bang. My hands are still so sticky from that glue. That's probably why they discontinued it. I'm going to stamp it one more time. This would look beautiful, silver heat embossed. I just don't have, my heat embossing gun is back here. and it's just so hard to do it on camera. So here it is. Celebrate with a bang. Super cute. It would look really nice with some wood grain or the siding in it, but this is the stamp set. So we used MFT's Dynamics, we used a couple of stamp sets, and we used Distress Oxides and Distress Inks to create this. So thank you guys for watching. If you have any comments or questions about any of the products I used today, either leave them in the comments below or private message me, and I will see you guys again real soon for another card project. Bye!